The Queen's Quest, by Black Petunia. Long ago, before our king was even born, generations before he was born, there lived the Queen of Kacey's kingdom. She was an elegant, brave soul.
One day, in the Kazooverse, a great war started. The queen then decided to try to settle the war. She packed her things and said goodbye to the castle, putting her crown in a glass cube and saying, "I am no longer the queen of Kazooverse. I will come back one day and say hello to everyone after gaining peace. And yes, I might not return alive." She was so brave while saying those few sentences. The king was shocked that she would be so sure, leaving her servants in charge of taking care of her newborn baby. The king was confused and wondered what the queen meant. She left the castle in her dress, flowing in the moonlight. She had stumbled upon a cave that led to one of the most dangerous towns in the Kazooverse. When the moon fully rose, she hid under an abandoned building inside the town. She did not arm herself because she knew violence was never the answer. She did not arm herself because she knew violence was never the answer. She prepared herself for the next day and fell asleep, thinking about her child and her castle workers. When the sun rose up, she got up and tried to hide her past identity, walking slowly and slowly walking a bit faster over time. Eventually, a peasant noticed her and grabbed her arm. She turned around and saw a child somewhere between 10 and 13. The child gasped as the queen accidentally let hood drop. While putting it back up, she said, "What do you need, child? I am a bit busy."
The child asked, "Are you not the queen of the Kazooverse?" The child asked. The queen signed and said, "I used to be, yes." The child was shocked and pulled her over to an alley. The queen impatiently asked, "Why did you pull me here?" The child bowed and said, "My queen, I saw your announcement that you were abdicated. The war is predicted to stop decades later. Please return to the throne and just stay as the queen. We cannot have more important people dying."
"No, even if other people are still fighting in the front lines, I need to do my mission." The queen said this bit in anger. She tried to walk a bit faster and avoid the child. The child caught up to her and said, "If you are going to settle the war, I take me with you." They gaped insultedly at the child. "Who do you think you are, being a child and trying to be included in the war? It is not like the little fantasy stories your mother reads to you each night. Child Kazooverse might lose, and I absolutely cannot have Kazooverse citizens dying from this tragedy anymore, especially not a kid."
The child mumbled to her, "But what about you? You are a leader. You mean the world to us. Imagine you died, the princess, the king, and the servant who loved you as their leader. What about them?" Tears appeared on her face. She speechlessly bent down towards the child and asked, "What is your name?" Trying to control the tears in her eyes, she silently glanced at the child. The child showed multiple sparks in his eye. My name is Noah." They both sat in silence and stared at each other for a few minutes. "Noah, you say, are you sure you would like to help me with my quest?" The queen said. "Why yes," Noah said. They both smiled at each other. Meanwhile, in the castle, the king was worried if the queen would make it out. He said to himself, "Why did I let her just go and fight in the war like that? I cannot just let her do this." He sent multiple soldiers to find her. "But if you are not queen anymore, what do I call you?" Noah asked. The queen replied, "Well, you could call me Amber." Looking at the child, they finally saw the end of the town and crossed the bridge to the next one. Little did she know there were soldiers tracking her. "I bet she came here," a soldier said, looking at the heavy footprints on the ground. Meanwhile, the child said, "Are you sure you want to do this, Mrs. Amber?" "Yes, I am confident, and I cannot allow anyone else to be hurt," Amber said with a stone-hard face. Noah turned his face toward the front and kept walking silently. Suddenly, teardrops appeared on his face. "Why are you crying, my dear?" Amber asked Noah, but he did not respond. "You do not need to tell me," Amber reassured him. "We should take a small break before continuing." Amber patted Noah on the head slowly, and they stopped to sit under the shade of tree. When Noah stopped crying, he insisted they continue their journey. As they stood up and headed toward the war zone, Noah took out a piece of paper. "Please wait a moment, Ms. Amber. He wrote a letter for his parents and folded it in half. He then put it under the tree. Okay, we shall continue, Noah said, and they walked until they arrived at the war zone.